You know me. I'm the kind of guy that likes a challenge. I play most games on the highest difficulty, and challenge is just something I find fun in games. So, Steam Summer Sale 2018. I jump into Dark Souls 3 thinking, oh, this is that hard game, right, that all the journalists love. I'll have a great time trying to overcome this challenge. I thought that game was fucking bullshit. The levels felt like labyrinths with no proper direction, and it felt like I had to look up a guide for everything. I didn't really know how the upgrade system worked, and the combat just felt obtuse and slow. Do not get me started on the fucking swamps, man. By the time I finished this boss, I gave up on liking the Soulsborne games and just chalked them up as not for me. Flash forward 2 years later. There's a pandemic ravaging the world, and I desperately need something to fill my time. PlayStation Store Sale 2020. Bloodborne with all the DLC is like $10 fucking. So originally, I thought I would have a lot of the same issues I had with Dark Souls 3 with Bloodborne, and at first, I did. Walking around Yharnam still felt like a labyrinth, and I just wasn't a big fan of the combat. I didn't understand how blood vials worked, and I was stuck on this optional boss for like weeks. But after a while of what felt like putting my dick in a meat grinder, something clicked. I started enjoying myself. Enjoying myself is an understatement. I fell in love with this game. The combat started making sense to me. It felt so rewarding to make your own build, or to learn to parry properly, or to backflip off the Empire State, I don't know. I started appreciating the level design more after understanding that, yes, these levels are huge and sprawling, but they all feel so connected. There's so much to explore, and after your 50th time dying there, maybe you'll understand where to go. And then finally, I beat that optional boss, and ever since then, I've been so fucking addicted to this game. So, allow me to give you a few reasons why me love Bloodborne. Bloodborne has an atmosphere so thick you could drown in it. It opens up as this Victorian-era styled world with beasts roaming the streets and hunters and plagues, the townsfolk of Yharnam just slowly losing their fucking minds. And as you progress with the game, the creature designs and the world itself slowly get much more grotesque and taps into the unexplainable. And then, after you kill this giant boulder, everything gets flipped on its head. Other creatures you've seen in the past now have otherworldly abilities. The world itself warps and shifts, and through the insight system, it's almost as if your character itself is going crazy. The already grotesque, disgusting designs of some of these creatures become even more hard to look at. For example, early on you fight these giant pigs. They're pretty much fodder enemies, they don't really matter at all. But after you kill that boulder from earlier, in the later areas, now they're riddled with eyeballs. And the boss designs, oh man, just look at all of these. I'm not actually looking at any bosses. I have to edit that in post, but I'm sweating just thinking about it. Every enemy just has this completely unnatural feel to it. I'm a big fan of body horror, and so these designs really speak to me. Also, if you're one of those people with trypophobia, this game will send you to Poo Poo Pants City. Unlike the rolling and bowling of Dark Boy, Bloodborne's combat is lightning quick and super aggressive. Now after getting hurt, you have a short amount of time to hit that enemy again and regain your health. This makes the combat much more rewarding than going in a corner and drinking Sunny D. Oh, does dearest baby need to suck on his binky after the boss fight? Oh, and also, now you have a gun. These seemingly small additions add up to make a combat system that requires much more decision making. Should I go back to the hunter's baby dream and take a little nappy wappy? Or keep going and lose risking all my blood echoes? Should I heal now or try to hit them again to get my health back? Should I backflip off the Empire State? That's for you to decide. Weapons now have transformations, which means a once simple sword could now be a glow stick, a walking cane could become a whip, or my personal drug of choice, the hunter axe, which becomes a bigger axe. Thank you, Dark Souls. By the time you've reached the endgame, enemies that used to put your dick in a meat grinder are now complete pushovers. It gives a real sense of accomplishment to come back to previous enemies and show them what it feels like to put their dick in a meat grinder. There's still plenty of the combat I haven't explored in the arcane and blood tinge builds, meaning I still have plenty of combat to explore. And you know, that's just why this game is so damn cool. After years of not having that feeling of magic and adventure from video games, I thought I was kind of over them. I didn't know if that love for gaming would ever spark again, until this game reignited that feeling in my soul. My tribe These games are notorious for their difficulty. You almost can't talk about these games without mentioning it. And I went in thinking it would be the hardest game I've ever played. And it may very well be. But if I'm being honest, once I got the hang of it, I wouldn't say this game was easy by any means, but it was definitely easier than I anticipated, and majority of bosses didn't take me more than 2 tries. And that's not to say I didn't get my ass handed to me either. I'm not really an angry person by any means, but many of the bosses in this game, man, they got to me. Very rarely does it feel like bullshit or unfair, but more often than not, if you die, it's your own fault. And that feeling when the stars align and you're dodging left and right, not getting hit once by a boss that's been giving you trouble forever, and to finally come back and kick its ass, that makes beating these bosses worth it even more. It's that sense of accomplishment that no other series can perfectly replicate, that makes these games stand out so well. I call it post-boss clarity. Now what if I told you there was a boss that I believe followed all of these design philosophies? A boss that I haven't spoken about yet, or even shown, but has already become one of my favorite boss fights in all of video games. It's Ludwig. You knew it was Ludwig. I knew it was Ludwig. We both did. When you enter the DLC of Bloodborne, by exploring enough you can find this large cathedral. Walk in there and you're greeted with bodies strewn across the floor, blood everywhere, and a large figure standing in the shadows. Can I get 1 ticket to Poo Poo Pants City? 'Cause I think I made an accident. Before I talk about the fight, I want to talk about his design more. His whole body is asymmetrical, with random horse-human limbs protruding from each side. His face, large claw arm, and hooves are all covered in many boils. His hair is long and wavy, his teeth protruding out of his boiled gums. He has a large gaping mouth coming out of his right shoulder. By every sense of the imagination, this abomination is arguably the most grotesque, wretched, horrible-looking creature in this game. And now you're fighting it. Oh, and you're already dead. The fight is on, and it is so crushingly, ball-bustingly, dick-in-meat-grinderly difficult. I didn't keep track of how many times I died, but it was definitely around 50. I spent 5 straight days trying to fight this boss. His moves are sporadic. You can barely predict what he'll do next. Despite being so large, like many of the enemies in Bloodborne, he's extremely fast, and if you fumble once, you're dead. It is so unforgiving. My strategy was to run into his crotch and just start chopping away. It took me a long time, but I finally started to understand his moveset. But then, once he reaches half health,
you were at my side all along.
After you rub his crotch too long, he pulls out the giant fucking glow stick from earlier.
and now it's a completely different boss battle. His name, Ludwig the Accursed? No, now it's Ludwig the Holy Blade. He transforms from this illiterate, rampaging beast into such an elegant sword fighter, as the only thing keeping on to his humanity is his blade itself, and it becomes a dance for survival as the orchestra blares in your ears. You still gotta rub his crotch though. I thought his first phase was hard, but nothing compares to his second phase. I mentioned earlier only a few bosses made me angry. Ludwig made me the most. And finally, you get that chance at beating him. And I didn't catch footage of it. You know, I wonder what that transformation looked like. Actually, before I'm done talking about him, I wanted to play some of his voice lines, but I didn't have anywhere to talk about them.
Then a beast-possessed degenerate was I, as my detractors made eminently clear. Does the nightmare never end?
In conclusion, I love you, Ludwig. All my friends know I love horses, and you're my favorite of all of them.
Cream.
Wait, what was this video about again? Oh, Bloodborne. Me love Bloodborne. For my first real deep dive into Soulsborne games, Bloodborne has been such a fantastic ride start to finish. Nowadays, it's so increasingly rare to see a game that's so polished top to bottom. It's rare to find a game this rewarding, with this much to do, with such a focused vision. So can we just make more Bloodborne? And I know I've been downplaying Dark Souls 3 throughout this video, but I fully intend to go through that game, as well as Sekiro, Demon Souls, and the other 2 Dark Souls games. I haven't meant to be absent for 2 months. I actually have a video fully scripted and storyboarded, but I haven't really been happy with it, and it's been kind of stressful. So instead, I thought I'd make a Bloodborne video, since that's something I've been playing a lot. I'll try to get that other video, as well as many other ideas I have out sooner. I want to create consistent content for this channel, and make videos I would want to watch. Thank you guys so much for the reception on the One Piece 1000 video. It got 200 views in just a month. This video did not take long at all to make, so I hope I can start pumping out consistent content. Like the video if you did, subscribe, push the bell, you know the shit. You've heard it a million times from everybody, and now you're hearing it again from me. So, thanks for the video.
Elden Ring news, baby.